How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all keeping well, and welcome to the first racing action of 2026 here for the start of a new RTA season. Back in the Formula V's for this one for the Scholarship Championship, and starting off today at what is thankfully a very sunny and dry Donington Park. Rest of the season, the calendar looks like this. After the first round, we head to Lime Rock Park, then back over to the UK for Silverstone and Brands Hatch Indy, an RTA favourite. Then we head to Road Atlanta, Okayama, the short circuit at Hockenheim, and then finishing off the season at Sebring at the short circuit there as well. So, very good calendar. The grid is very packed for this season. I think it's 37 cars for this opening round here. So it's going to be very close from the practice times. You can definitely tell that it's going to be full of action. And yeah, really looking forward to it. But with no standings to look at since this is the first round, let's head into the action in qualifying. So, as always in these opening qualifying sessions in RTA, slipstream very important, and definitely even more so today in Donington. Going on to start the final lap of session then, which did end up being my best lap. Spent pretty much the rest of qualifying just trying to find a good group of cars to get a tow off of, and now managed to find myself at the back of a 4-car train with Brandon McCotton, who's on provisional pole, Lawrence Stoswa and Jack Wynn, all very fast drivers. So into turn 1, taking a wide line, didn't get as close to the apex as I would have liked, but very important to get on the power early to get a good run down through the Craner cars, which are flat out through these turns until we get to the old hairpin, this right hander coming up. Ideally want to stay in 4th gear, but I run a bit wide, carrying too much speed or a bit of understeer with a bit of dirty air, and had to go down into 3rd, which like I said isn't ideal, but still managed to keep a good speed up. Lawrence and Jack pulling out of the way there, aborting their laps, and now we just have Brandon up ahead to get a tow off on the back straight, heading down to the final braking zone of the track. Through this right-hander there, one of my weakest corners on the track, but managed to get pretty nicely on this occasion. And Brandon pulling off to board his lap now, so we're not going to get as good of a slipstream as I would have liked. And heading into the final chicane, where I know there's a lot of time going to be a little bit down, but fully sending it, abusing the first curb, keeping it nice and stable across the second, getting on the power early onto the start finish straight to finish the lap and set a 1 minute 23.2, which put me P15 on the grid, which in all honesty a bit disappointing. Would have thought I'd be a bit further up and almost a second off Brandon McCotton on pole position, so there is definitely more to find in that session, but considering I didn't get a proper full tow lap until the last chance in qualifying, I suppose I can't complain too much. Travis Mawhinney in 3rd place, and then Harvey Dara rounding out the top 3, and then around me Kevin Joyce just ahead, Sean McGoldrick in 13th, and then behind we have Jack Wynn and Dermot Toomey and Peter McCann. So a lot of very fast drivers throughout the top 20, and be looking to try and stay ahead of those and get ahead of a few more in race 1. So for the first time this season, the red lights come on for the start of race 1. You might have noticed in the mirror Jack Wynn behind jumping the start, so he's going to have a drive through at the end of this first lap. But for myself, get a pretty decent start. Myself, Kevin and Sean getting a much better start than Robbie Callahan into turn 1. We are 3 wide, leaving a lot of space on the inside. Just want to get through nice and safe. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get a move on either of those there. We now have Peter McCann right up behind us as we head down through the Craner curves for the first time. Into the old hairpin now, wasn't going to try and look for a move just yet, just staying behind and keeping it nice and safe, as Conor Melia, one of the fastest drivers in RTAs in these cars, especially off the track on the exit of the old hairpin, and then Pavlo Kishkan having a poor run as well, and we all managed to get past him heading into the right-hander of McLean's. Side by side with the two boys up ahead, and really I was just seeing if there was any way I could try and follow one of them through, taking my racing line, which was behind Robbie Callahan, just about not able to get the run to to get ahead of Sean, and now he has the tow from Robbie. We have to just slot back in. Peter behind, taking it nice and handy as well. He wasn't going for a move, and we're side by side heading into the chicane. I wasn't going to go for a move there, but Pavlo sends it up the inside, and there's all sorts of chaos after happening because of that. I'm able to just get back onto the track, trying to take it nice and handy. But we're going to look at a replay here now, on board with Pavlo. You can see on the turn in for the chicane, he wasn't alongside enough, hits my rear right tyre. Sends me for a spin, he goes for a spin. Nothing Peter can do there either, which starts off almighty chain of events. 4, 5, 6, maybe even more cars caught up with that. And yeah, just unfortunate start to the opening race here. We just about avoid Pavlo then, who cuts across us going into the pits. But as you heard there, luckily no damage to the car, and the comeback drive starts now. Later on, lap 2, a big incident at the old hairpin. We get past a couple of drivers, and then later on lap 2, heading into the chicane, we get a run on Adam Carney. Break a bit later into the final turns, and we managed to get that place. So up into P21 now, as later on in lap 3, behind Quali Brennan, who doesn't get a great run through McLean's on the exit and into Coppice. We managed to get the move done down the inside and up into the top 20. On to the start of lap 4 then, into turn 1. Have a bit of a look on Ronan Keane, but wasn't really going to be able to get that one done, but put him off a bit. Gets a poor exit, we get a good run, and heading down through the crater curves. On the outside for this left-hander, but it's going to turn to the inside for the old hairpin, and we get that move done before we even turn in. Then catch up to Ross Wheatley on the back straight. We just about managed to get to the outside line and heading into the final chicane. I tried to go for it there, but Ross with the inside line managed to hold on to that, and I ended up bailing out across the gravel to prevent some sort of a crash there. Better to take a bit of a slowdown, lose a bit of time to be able to fight on and get a couple of more places. But it didn't take long. Lap 8 now, back on the back of Ross. Managed to get past him. We get a run on Niall Leahy as well into the chicane. This time I have the inside line and managed to get that done. Really hitting those curves a bit too hard there. Had a big snap and managed to hold on to the car, thankfully. On the last lap now, we've managed to get past Dylan on the exit of the chicane. He had some kind of a problem. Then we get past Emma Dempsey in turn 1, and now coming through the chicane for the final time in race 1. We're going to start off the season with a good recovery back to P40. So up one space from where I started in 15th, and considering what happened at the beginning of that race, I have to say pretty pleased with that recovery. Bran McCaughan winning from pole position. Behind him was Harvey Dara and Cam Dutchuk rounding out the top 3. Look at a few others, 7th and 8th, Sean McGoldrick and Kevin Joyce. Robbie Callahan in 9th. They were around me at the start of the race, so could have been a lot better in this one, could have been in the top 10, but these things happen. Start of a long season, and luckily was able to recover back to a pretty decent position, and hopefully be able to get up into the all-important top 8 for race 2. So on the grid once again for the second race here in Donington, the green lights come on and we are foot to the floor, and we get a pretty okay start. I think my starts last season were a bit better, still getting used to my new wheel and pedals, so hopefully the starts will improve as the season goes on, because it was definitely one of my strongest points in these cars last season. Made it a lot easier making up a place or two at the start of each race. But back to this one now, through the crane or curves, heading downhill. We've made up a couple of places on this opening lap so far. We're side by side with Paul O'Mahony into the old hairpin. With going 2 by 2, we're not able to get a great run. We managed to get the move on Paul, who goes off the track, but now we're side by side with Lawrence Sazwa as we head up the hill towards McLean's. On the outside line, trying to carry as much speed as I can, leaving plenty of room for Lawrence on the inside. Just about keeping it within track limits as we're still side by side heading into Coppice. Again, trying to carry as much speed as I can around the outside, but Lawrence with the inside line, the shorter run onto the back straight. He just about is ahead and heading into the chicane. Don't want to be going side by side on the opening lap, so lift off a bit, let Lawrence slot back in. I'm going to try and work together now, but behind Niall Lahey isn't trying to work together. He goes for a bit of a move down the inside there, and I think I was kind of lucky not to be in another first lap incident there, but we managed to survive and move up 2 places on the opening lap. And as you can see now, myself and Lawrence have a pretty big gap to the group ahead, and I just pulled out a slipstream there, kind of to show Lawrence that I was willing to work together, not fight, and see if we can catch up to the group of cars ahead. So as we skip on to lap 3 then, Lawrence doesn't get a great run out of the old hairpin. Pulls off the racing line, gives me the best line heading up the hill. So now I want to try and run the pace a bit. Hopefully Lawrence can follow me, use my toe, slingshot back past me. We can kind of do that until we catch up to the group ahead with Darragh O'Connor at the rear of it. But into Coppice, I didn't feel comfortable at that corner pretty much throughout any of these races, and carrying a bit too much speed into there, going a bit wide when Lawrence gets back past through. So trying my best to work together here with Lawrence. He seems to be doing the same with me, but I'm kind of making a bit of a mess of it at the moment, not really utilising the slipstream as effectively as we could. On the next lap then, I get the toe still behind Lawrence and manage to get back past Lawrence, backing out of it there, so I can use the slipstream to go a bit faster heading into the last chicane. But again, just as soon as I get ahead, have a bit of a moment, don't get a good run onto the start finish straight, and Lawrence is able to get back past again. And a lap later then, the start of lap 6, I was pulling to, or staying in the middle of the track to let Lawrence go past on the racing line, but he decided to stay behind for now. But later on in that lap, heading up towards McLean's, Lawrence got a good run out of the old hairpin, and I give him the better line there. But in McLean's here, this right-hander, I felt like I was probably a bit stronger through there, and I think Lawrence was probably better in this corner here, Coppice, so I was kind of hoping that for the next couple of laps I could maybe be ahead heading into McLean's. Get a bit of a gap, Lawrence closed it through Coppice, and then he could slipstream me back down this straight. I was going to stay behind on this occasion, but Lawrence pulling to the right, letting me have the racing line to get ahead once again. But once again, as soon as I get ahead, make a bit of a hames of it, running deep into the chicane and having to bail out across the gravel to not hit that second curb and spin out completely. Better to take a small bit of pain than end up spinning out and losing a heap of time. But during all of that, we managed to get back past Lawrence again, but Conor Mealy, Peter McCann and Jack Wynne are after working together better than myself and Lawrence had, and they closed up a couple of seconds gap, caught up to the two of us, and now as you can see Conor has managed to get past me for P9. And once again I was happy enough to stay behind Conor, very fast driver for the time being, and maybe work a bit better together with him to catch up to the group of cars ahead as we head on to the end of, I think that's the same lap. You can see the gap to the group ahead has closed a bit. I get a good run from out of the final corner and just about pull alongside Conor into turn 1, but on the outside line probably wasn't the best idea. Peter McCann follows Conor through on the inside line and managed to get that move done. So lost the place there, but still not too panicked. Still about 2 minutes left in this race. Time to try and get these positions back. On to lap 10 then, that same lap heading into McLean's. Jack having a look up the inside, but like I'd mentioned, I felt very strong through that corner, carrying the speed around the outside, but that turns to the outside then for this one, and the inside line that Jack had, he was able to get that move done. We then get past Jack O'Regan, who seemed to have some kind of an issue there. We're now side by side with Lawrence once again, but he backs out of that one. Smart driver is Lawrence and knows that no real point going for a move down the inside there as we head on to the final lap of the race. we have caught up to that group of cars that was ahead of myself and Lawrence, thanks to Connor and Jack and Peter kind of having a bit more speed into turn one for the final time in race two. Just dip a wheel onto the grass, I think, have a bit of a moment, but luckily managed to save it. It's heading down the hill, bit of contact between Dara and Jack, and I think Jack was very lucky there to not end up in the grass, and I was very lucky to not end up in the back of Jack's car. Great by everyone there to survive. Through the old hairpin, then I get a bit caught up behind the yellow car of Dara, and Jack had a great run there. He was right up behind me. I think he even might have went onto the grass to carry as much speed as he could ahead into McLean's. I decided I didn't want to go three wide with Wynne and O'Connor and decided to back out of it. Have a good run. We're side by side with Jack once again, heading into Coppice. He just managed to get ahead at the apex and take a pretty good line there. I had to carry less speed than I really would have wanted to, so I get a worse exit than Lawrence, who is now just about has an overlap on my rear right, and with the inside line heading into the chicane on the final lap. Obviously he is going to go for it. Brakes late, gets the move done. I was fairly compliant there, didn't want to risk taking the two of us out on the final corner, and what looked like was going to be a very good race did end up being a very entertaining one, but did end in just a P12 finish. Still up 2 places from where I started, but when you look at Conor Melia and Peter McCann there, up 18 and 22 places respectively in P6 and P7, and how they passed myself, Lawrence, pretty easily. Definitely could have been in the top 8 in this one, I think. Just made a couple of too many little mistakes when I was trying to work together with Lawrence, which didn't help the situation. I think the lads definitely would have caught up to us either way. But P12 still a good result in this one and gives a good starting position for the final race of this opening round in Donington. So for the final time in this opening round of the new season, the green lights come on and we are underway at Donington Park. Pretty good start, but unfortunately Jack and all the cars directly ahead pulled to the right hand side at the start, and I have no slipstream heading into turn one. So around the outside, taking it nice and easy, having a bit of a look trying to challenge Lawrence, carrying as much speed as I can, but Jack pulling to the right for one, the racing line, and to give Lawrence the slipstream heading down the hill through the craner curves. And I can see that Lawrence is ahead. I didn't really want to fight too much heading into the old hairpin for the first time, so kind of back out of that focus and trying to get a good run, which I do. And now I'm going to have an attack on Mr. DeSazwa heading up the hill towards McLean's for the first time here in race 3. I saw in the previous race that I was pretty strong around here, and heading into it Lawrence had already backed out. There's a bit of a crash behind, I think I saw in the mirrors, but luckily I'm well clear of that, and importantly still within slipstream range of the group of cars ahead. As you can see, pretty close, just 3 tenths behind Jack, just up ahead. So heading down to the chicane for the first time in this race, and with no pressure behind, going to be able to take it nice and easy through here and keep my head on a swivel for any incidents that might happen. As you can see, there is a few cars had a poor run there, a few slides, and we've managed to get past Jack. I think there was somebody off the track and Campbell, up 3 places, but heading across the line. We get squeezed there by, I think it was Dara O'Connor and Sean McGoldrick, I think it was, on my left hand side. We're going to have a look at a replay here. You can see I'm going straight. Dara on the right hand side is just veering across towards the racing line, and I didn't have any further to go, or I would have hit, I think it's Sean McGoldrick in that car. I'm not 100% sure. There was nothing I could have done about that. I was even too late to just slam on the brakes by the time I realised what was happening. And yeah, luckily still managed to face in the right direction, but do have some significant damage to the car, I think, and that's going to mainly affect the straight line speed of the car for the rest of this race. 17 minutes to go as we're at the end of lap 2 here now. Dropped a couple of places, obviously, because of that. I think now down into P13, so not terrible, but obviously would have preferred to have been up in the top 10 where I think I was after getting those couple of places before this incident happened. We go around the outside of Jamal in McLean's there. Pretty nice move, as Jamal having a very good race in this one, up in the top 10. And we're just starting to fall back a little bit from the cars ahead, but still well within slipstream range. Heading down the back straight then, if you look in the mirror you can see Jamal closing, getting ever closer, but he decides to stay behind on this occasion heading into the chicane. Through the chicane then, I just try and carry a bit too much speed. We go off into the grass a bit. Luckily I was able to hold on to it there. Pretty much kept the throttle pinned and luckily managed to hold on to it as on to the end of the next lap then. Bit of battling up ahead. Kevin Joyce in the blue car at the front of this train, as there seems to be a bit of a break between, I think it's the top 4 and or top 5 and then the rest of us here now in this little group. Heading down into turn 1 side by side with Campto, as they're pretty much 3 wide up ahead, and have a look down the inside. I think just about going to get that move done on Campto, but with the outside line he still has the slipstream on Harvey Dara there on my left hand side, so he's able to keep pretty good speed. As heading into the old hairpin then, we're on the inside line, not going to be able to carry as much speed as I would like, but Harvey going off the grass, or off onto the grass there, I wasn't sure how he's going to rejoin, so he's taking it a bit easy. We're now 3 wide in the middle with Campto on my left, Jamal on my right. I didn't really have any interest in going 3 wide into McLean's, as Jamal gets a bit out of shape. Look, we're able to cut in underneath and get back past, but more importantly we have managed to keep touch with the cars ahead. Weaving Brennan there in the blue car a lap down, so hoping that he won't get in my way. He seemed to pretty much jump out of the way of the group of cars ahead, so kind of hoping he will give the same treatment to me. Heading into the chicane, he's going really slow on us, fairly close to hitting into the back of him there, just because the closing speed he was going fairly slow, to be honest. And heading down the pitch straight, he doesn't seem to be trying to get out of the way either. Had a bit of a look down the inside to see if he would move, and heading down through the Craner curves, through the old hairpin and up towards McLean's. He's still just in the way really, because he's not going as fast as I would like, but with the slipstream he's able to keep pretty close to the group of cars ahead, which I'm thankful for, because when I eventually get past it means I'm still within slipstream range of Campbell and of Kevin. So not ideal there, but definitely could have worked out a lot worse for me. Thankfully it didn't. Lap 7 now, the boys still going fairly hard at it through the old hairpin, all kind of checking each other up, and Campbell coming out the worst of that. We're now side by side heading up the hill in McLean's. Around the outside, a bit of a trademark move for me throughout this round it seems, using all the track and all the curb that I can. I managed to get ahead into Coppice and just about pull in ahead of Campbell, who is probably going to slipstream straight back past me here down the back straight, which I wouldn't be too upset about, to be honest. I've created a bit of a gap to the cars ahead, heading down into the chicane. He has the inside line. I brake a bit earlier to let him be able to take it somewhat normally, which he does, and he gets that position back once again. That little bit of fighting has created a bit of a gap to the few cars ahead, so I give Campto a little bit of a wiggle there, kind of just to tell him I'm not going to fight him just yet. Let's try and just keep it civil for now, work it together if we can and catch up ahead. Conor Melia there sideways on pretty much the racing line of the track there on the exit of McLean's, and somehow I actually don't really know how everyone managed to survive him there. I thought I was going to hit him because my car started to drift out a bit wide, but managed to slow it down a bit, turn in a bit more and get to the right hand side of the Strickland Martinez Formula Vee car. Robbie Callahan has caught up to us, a very fast driver as you can see, and he's going to join this group now in the top 11 who are fighting for, I think it's a 4th place or a 5th place, so A lot of cars fighting here for very good finishing positions. Out of the chicane, Robbie gets a very good run. And you can see here when I'm not in the slipstream, you're already losing enough speed. And with the bit of damage I have affecting my top end, it's like taking candy from a baby for Mr. Callahan there to get up into P8. So spinner there on the end of lap 11, I think that was Harvey Dara on debut in RTA. So he was running really well, and it's unfortunate to see his race 3 come to a pretty premature end there. Never nice to see someone that you're fighting with, that you fought very fairly with for the majority of the race, have theirs come to an end like that. And the way things are looking here, it's like more people's races could end pretty badly. It's getting very tight in the final 3 to 4 minutes of this opening round at Donington Park. Heading on to the back straight, we get a good run on Campbell. We pull side by side, but he is on the racing line with the slipstream. There's nothing I can do there. You just have to let them go past and pull back into the slipstream and hope you can get another opportunity to get the move done, which I do. Campbell unfortunately hitting the curve there in the chicane and going for a spin. And unfortunately for me, I had to back off the throttle there to make sure I didn't run into Campto. And heading into turn 1, we're already a second behind Robbie up ahead, which when everyone else is so close, if you're a second behind, you're not going to be getting a good enough slipstream that you're going to hang on to the train. And with my reduced top end as well, we skip to the end of the race, heading into the chicane for the final time. We've dropped back by 3.5 seconds to the group ahead. I just didn't have the speed to keep with them when they were slipstreaming each other. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to fight for anything better. But we come across the line to finish off round 1 with a P7 finish. So it was 7th place then. 5 places up from where I started, which is very encouraging. Robbie ahead of me up 19, so he had a great recovery drive. And Brandon McCotton up in P1, taking 2 out of 3 wins here in Donington Park. Peter McCann, who ended race 1 on top of the tyre barriers at the chicane, finishing race 3 in the top 2. And Travis Mawhinney rounding out the podium. So what that means for the standings after this opening round is that with 2 wins and a second place, Brandon McConnell leads the way over Travis Mawhinney and Campto Chukwueze in 3rd. Myself there in 10th place with 40 points, just 1 behind Lawrence, who's 1 behind Jack. So all very close here at the back end of the top 10. I'm very happy with that start to the season. Obviously not as good as the start of the previous one where I got a podium in the first round and ended that in 4th in the standings, but still very happy with where I am, and I know there's room for improvement, which is always good, and hopefully that can start in the next round in Lime Rock Park, which is definitely going to be even more of a slipstream fest, and I kind of have a sneaking suspicion there might be a bit of rain, but we'll have to wait and see about that. But that is it for this one. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more RTA League Racing videos. But until the next one, thanks for watching and see you then.